unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw and Unscripted show with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, the place where I help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Thank you guys for joining us, whether you're watching us on the video cast that we do live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m., or if you're listening to us on the audio podcast, which of course comes out every Wednesday, 3 a.m. Thank you guys for being here and listening to us or watching us live. If you've been listening to the audio podcast and you'd like to see the video podcast, all you have to do is just go over to noexcusescoach.com. Go over to the podcast page and you will see all the video cast there as well. Or you can go on YouTube and just type in Christopher Rausch and you'll find everything there. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. I know that quite a few of you listen to this on replay while you're at the gym and driving to work. So thank you. Appreciate it. And God's honest truth, I was gone last week. Last week was the 4th of July here in Southern California. Here all over the world, it was 4th of July. We got Catherine in the house. What's up, Coach? She says, hey, Coach. So I took some time off. Yeah, actually, my family and I we like to go camping, or as we refer to it as glamping. We have a nice trailer, and we went out and spent 9 days in a campsite that overlooked the harbor up in Central California. And my friends challenged me because normally I still work. I still do social media, still do everything. I still do whatever I do to make this world a better place. But two of my friends who are dear friends of mine, mentors, they said, Chris, why don't you unplug and not post anything on social, not look at the news for all the entire time that you're there? I was like, challenge accepted. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Because I like being a part of everybody's life. You know, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on what's the other one? Not Clubhouse, the other C word. What's the other? TikTok? No, not the C word, the TikTok one. I'm all over the place. So I like to serve. I like to wake up every day and think about my life and say, my intention today is to use my words and my actions to make this world a better place for who I am and what I do. And so as I was waking up at the trailer, I'm like, wow, I don't have to do that anymore. I could kind of disconnect and actually be more of a dad and a husband, because oftentimes, we're in our lives, we get crazy and stuff like that. So it's great to reprioritize. Oftentimes we're talking about balance, and maybe we'll talk about that as a part of the conversation tonight. But often people sit there and say they need balance in life. But I think for me, the balance comes from the fact that you go hard in the paint for 6 months, and then you take a 2-week vacation. You go hard in the paint for 6 months, you do whatever you need to do to balance that out, to find that space for yourself. And that's something that I don't do necessarily the best job of, because I like to work and I like to get things done. But honestly, having to be able to disconnect was great for me, because I started realizing some patterns in my life. And in tonight's show, we're going to be talking about patterns. So I highly, highly recommend that you have something to take notes on, whether it's your phone, whether it's your iPad, whether it's good old fashioned paper. You can use paper. Take some notes tonight, because I really encourage you, we do with all the different episodes here. You walk away with 3 action items that you implement over the course of the next 7 days until the next class, if you will. We call these classes or episodes. Think about, after 52 weeks of listening to this show, taking 3 action items every single week, whether it's a book, whether it's a strategy, whether it's whatever it might be. Can you imagine how much different your life would be in a year? I mean, think about that. If you really applied 3 principles from every conversation, I can guarantee you every show has more than 3 principles, or any strategy that you could possibly, implement. You could implement like 10 strategies if you want to. But the point is, you got to take that action. You got to take that imperfect action and be able to go forward and just take everything step by step by step. I know a lot of you guys are out there overwhelmed, you're stressed. You got a lot of things on your mind. You got a lot of things that are coming over the perimeter wire, if you will. The best thing you can do is sit there and have the mindset to say, hey, listen, life is happening for me and not to me. And I get this opportunity to find out what I'm made of. I get this opportunity to find resiliency and commitment. I get the opportunity to re-examine what my priorities are. And that's something that I did over the time off. I started really thinking about, because I go in a lot of different directions. I'm like, wow, it's so nice to really just be focusing on one thing. And so I came back with the intention of finishing, of course, my book. You guys have been hearing all about it. It's Just You and Me, Kid, the story of a mother and son survival on the streets of California. It will be out this fall. All you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you have not done it already, go to itsjustyouandmekid.com. It's justyouandmekid.com, as it's spelled out. Go there, sign up, get on the priority pre-sale list, because when you do, and you help me make it a bestseller on that first day, I'm going to give you a bunch of extras, coaching sessions, missing stories out of the book, pictures out of the book, opportunity for Q&A about the book, and like, what happened here, and why'd you do this, and what happened with this, and you didn't explain this anything you want, tell me, because we're going to make this a bestseller. Not only are we going to make it a bestseller, we're going to make it into a movie, because my life, I know that all the trials and tribulations, all the downtimes, all the rejections, all the abandonments, all the different things have helped me come to this point right here with you. Everything that just happened 10 minutes ago, all happened to get me right here to this point. And I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, imperfect action. And I keep succeeding in my life as I learn through my life. And so we got an especially awesome conversation for you tonight. I'm excited. I met this person on the Owl app, which you guys have heard me talk about quite a few times. It's the Owl app. It's the place where you can go and you can talk to an expert, give them a little bit of money. You can talk to an expert about most anything in any field, get your immediate answer and be able to implement that in your life. So many times my friends are like, I don't know what to do. Have you talked to a financial advisor? No, I don't know one. Go on Owl, find a financial advisor. These people are vetted. These people are quality people. And so I got the opportunity to talk to this gentleman, and we immediately clicked, and we just having a great time going backwards and forwards on our conversations to make this world a better place. And I know you guys are going to be excited about it. So please welcome to the show, the Raw and Unscripted show, Mr. Will Baptiste, the Haitian sensation from the greatest nation. What's up, Will? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I couldn't do a better job than you. I mean, the way you presented me, man, I feel like I'm a prime minister. Out here in Canada, we don't have president like you, my friends over on the other side. We have prime minister. I feel like I'm the black prime minister in Canada, but I do appreciate you, man, Chris. I mean, I was backstage listening to you, man. I got pumped up. I got pumped just the way you. I mean, this the title of your show says a lot about you, and you can't take Raw and Unscripted and not having your face next to it. This is just genius, because that's who you are. You literally come out raw, naked, and unscripted, and you give it to us like no BS, not like nothing. Like, you don't leave anything out. You just lay it all out on the floor. And that's what I love about you, man. I'm pumped. I am ready. And I know the people that are listening to us going to take away, you say about 3 things. I think they're going to take away a whole lot more, but we need them to just take 3 things that they can implement, and they can make the world and their lives a better place. Man, listen, he got me started already.
I was trying to get you a little cranked. I wanted to get you a little cranked up.
It's not even my show, but hey, listen, I feel like I'm part of the family now.
Oh, you are. We already talked about that too. I mean, I think we also talked on Clubhouse, didn't we? We talked on Clubhouse.
That's right.
And then also Owl, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And then we had that. And then we had so we've talked quite a few times, and I'm so excited to have you here. One of the things I want to just really dive into deep is the title of the show. I sat there and I took a look at your backstory and everything else, and I titled it "How to Increase Our Self-Esteem." When you think about that, what do you think is the true key components of having great self-esteem?
That is a great question. Having a self-esteem, first, it takes a level of maturity. You got to know oneself, and I wrote an ebook called 3 Tips Coping with Trauma, because I believe we all have trauma, and part of increasing our self-esteem is to know who we are. So the first thing we got to do is self-awareness. Who am I? In order for me to have self-esteem, I got to know who I am, because if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, or any kind of relationship, the way that I'm going to tell you about myself, the way that I'm going to present myself, if I don't know who I am, already we started on the wrong foot, because now I'm lying. And the sad thing about this is I don't even know that I'm lying, because I haven't done the work to know myself. So Here I am telling you who I am. Now you're going to do your best, Chris, to treat me based on who I say that I am. Now I'm going to be mad at you for treating me the way that I say that I need to be treated, but I didn't know who I am. So awareness is so important, but guess what? It's so difficult, because we don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror.
Oh yeah, no, you're talking about identity, brother. And I think about that in so many different ways and shapes and forms. I've been coaching now for over 20 years. And that's one of the biggest issues that people have, is, to your point, exactly. Well, like, who am I? And actually on my other show, I do the Unfiltered Experience on Friday nights. And this season that we're doing right now is all about identity. Like, who am I? So when I ask you that question, who are you, Will?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm glad that you asked that question, because who I am versus what I do are 2 very different things. I'm a spiritual person, and I'm not religious. And now, first and foremost, I would say that I'm a child of God. And I am the sum total of everything that I've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I believe that I came to this world with everything that I need to to fight the battle and to go through these challenges. I am blessed. I am doing my best. I am here to make a contribution, and there's nobody like me that have been like me. There's nobody like me. There's nobody that's ever gonna be like me because I'm the one and only. I am the original. And anybody else that try to be like me is gonna be copy. And the best I can do is come second because number one is already taken. That's me. So who am I? I'm here in this planet to fulfill my purpose. Not to discover my not to find my purpose, but to discover my purpose. Because anytime that you have to find something, that means it has been lost.
Yes.
But now I'm here to discover my purpose. And my purpose, I find it in the darkest hour. And I'm here to tell people that just because it's not time doesn't mean it's not a new day. I mean,
Mhm.
because the new day started when? At midnight.
Yeah.
And midnight is the darkest hour of the day. But just because it's dark doesn't mean you can't start a new day. Just because it's dark doesn't mean you can't start a new relationship. Just
Mm.
because it's dark doesn't mean you can start a new business. Just because it's dark doesn't mean you cannot start over. Remember, when you start over, not starting over, you're starting from experience. So don't be afraid. Go out
Yeah. No, you can't be afraid. You got to. I mean, I look at things in terms of fear, and I've proven this many times over. Is like I think about fear, and I'm like, what's a different way of looking at fear? And one time I was here in Southern California, there's a place called Magic Mountain. It's a big amusement park. There's lots of scary rides, and we were out standing in line for one of the scariest rides. And literally, we had to stand there for like 2 hours waiting for it. And the group in front of us, they were all excited, like, "Oh my God, look how high it is! Oh my God, we got to put our hands up. We got to do this. Oh my God, we're high." They're all excited. I get chills just thinking about it. A group, two groups behind me, because I was kind of walking around, just like, just checking people out and shit. And two groups behind me, people are like, "Oh my God, that's so high. What if the mechanics, was high on crack? What if this? What if? Oh my God, I don't know if I could do this. Maybe you guys should." So like two different people, two different perspectives. One was excitement, one was fear, but it was basically the same emotional feelings that they were experiencing. I believe one of them was reacting to their emotions, and the other one was predicting their emotions. Talk to me about what do you feel about what I just shared with that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, here's the thing. I always tell people your worst enemy is enemy. My enemy, my worst enemy is enemy. So
Mhm.
anytime that we let fear has destroyed more dreams. Fear has destroyed more relationship than anything else. Anytime, there is a fear of reverence. A lot of time, when the Bible says fear of God, there's a fear of reverence and there's a fear of scarcity. I don't want to do something because I am scared, meaning that I'm living in a way that I am predicting what's going to happen. And guess what? Anytime that you predict something bad is going to happen, 9 times out of 10 it's going to happen. Because I think our problem is that we let our trauma, because of the thing that we have experienced in the past, we think that's the only way that our life is gonna stay. It's never gonna change.
Yep.
We are way too comfortable, and that's what fear does. Fear keeps us comfortable. And I have made a decision to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
think I think I think that our biggest problem is we get too comfortable and we stay on what we know, and fear, we in bondage. That's what fear does. It keeps us bonded. It keeps us from moving forward. And what happened is we project that inability on other people. Now imagine the people that say all those things. What's gonna happen? What could happen? Imagine they could influence other people. So we don't want those people around us unless we can have the influence on them and rather being influenced by those people. So fear is is worse than fear is worse than cancer, because cancer
Ooh.
you can treat cancer, but fear, my friend, fear. I mean, the thing about fear is that, as you know, fear has two different meaning. You can
Mhm.
face everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. Now the
Yep.
question, you have two choices. Every day we wake up, we have two things: a chance and a choice. You have a chance to make a choice. What are you gonna choose? Are you gonna choose a fear and you're gonna face everything and rise, or you're gonna face everything is run? I'm here to stay. Listen, man, I ain't going nowhere. I've been through too much. I've done. Listen, and I'm here to stay. And there's nothing anybody or anything can do to keep me in my fear or being in my comfort zone.
Mm. Brother, you're singing jewels already. They've already had the three strategies that we already talked about before, man. So many different ways I could jump off of what you were just talking about, but I want to go back. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to one of those low points. You talked about the dark hour. It's there. We got the dark night of the soul. Sometimes we talk to us about one of those low points in your life, Will, where you really came to a point where it was like, I got to change my thinking about myself or about I got to change something about what's going on in myself in order to have different results. Talk to us about one of those low times that you got that opportunity, that awakening, if you will.
Oh my God, I have so many, but I'll share with you in your audience, the most recent one, which was about a little over 3.5 years ago. But one thing that I've learned is that if you change nothing, nothing will change.
Yep.
Right. And for me, my moment, and I call it the my road to Damascus, my road to Damascus ways, because here I was sitting on my couch. It was March 2020. I was sitting on my couch.
Right when COVID happened.
Right when COVID happened. I had just lost my baby sister to
Oh,
COVID.
dude.
She was only 34 years old.
Oh,
Just became the head doctor at Baltimore Hospital, United States.
what?
Oh yeah, and I mean, and I was sitting there. My second wife has just walked out on me about 4 months prior with my son, and I haven't seen my son for about 4 months. And I was having a lot of difficult, with work and everything. And here I was sitting there on my couch by myself in the middle of a pandemic for about 3 days. Didn't take a shower, didn't eat. I was all by myself. And on one hand, I was cursing God for allowing me to go through everything that I've been through, whether it's sexual abuse, molestation, incarceration, near death 3 times.
Wow.
I'm like, all this, and this is the way that my life would end. I say, you know what? I'm not sure I can go on. I mean, what else can happen? If anything else would happen to me, I don't think I can survive that. But on the other hand, and I was telling God, but because you say you God and you knew that I was going to go through this, but you allowed me to go through it. And so far, I have survived 100% of my worst day. There's got to be something out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something out there for me. And I was sitting there contemplating to take my life. Because for me, the whole world has come crashing down. And I had nothing to live for. So I thought. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking outside. And it was snowing. And one thing about me, whether it's arrogance or whether it's perfectionism, I don't know what it is, because it was, it's funny, but because it was snowing, I didn't want to be remembered that Will is gone and the day was snowing. And I know the next day was going to be sunny. I said, I want to go out on a sunny day where it's a beautiful day. That's how I want to be remembered. And as I was sitting there, I was in the apartment. I can just literally visualize it. I was on my couch and I heard a voice literally say, Will, rise up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you wonder why I have Will to rise. Now, that's where this name comes from. Will, rise up. And I look around and I know there was nobody. I said, God, if it's you, if you got something for me, tell me, because I have nothing else to live for. And that's all I needed to hear. And here I am almost 4 years later. I've got a book coming out. I've got my coaching business. I have the best relationship with myself. I have the best relationship with my 2 children, even though I still haven't been able to see my child. My 2 oldest children, I've seen them. A lot of things is happening from that point on. So my lowest moment was a time for me, I wanted to take my life. But my lowest moment became my greatest moment.
I know this. I know this for truth. I mean, I just had a friend of mine who was 13 years sober and fell off the wagon. And I've only known him sober. I've only known him for probably about maybe 10 years. And we've always had a conversation about addictions and mental health and things of that nature. And then we have periodic check-in calls with each other. I have a few mentors. He's one of my mentors. I'm a mentor of his. And so I have these people that I check in with, at least once a month. So I have like 3 or 4 different people that I check in with every month that are holding me accountable all different ways, plus my coach. And so we get on a Zoom call kind of like this. And I was like, hey, John, what's going on? He's like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? And I'm like, you all right, dude? Fucker, I'm in the bag again. I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. he's such a positive dude, and he's so strong and all these different things, but he was going through so much emotional stuff that he had no way to process it. So he went back to the only thing that he knew how to process it with was alcohol. But he was smart enough this time to realize he didn't want to fuck up his marriage and everything else again. So he's like, I'm going to go back to treatment, dude. I'm like, good. You know, whatever I can do to support you, I got you. He goes, yeah, I'm going to go to the 30-day treatment. And I said, well, let's talk when you get out. Let's see what's up. He gets out. And the first thing he says to me when he gets out, he goes, dude, it's the fucking best thing that ever happened to me. Wow. He goes, relapsing was the best thing that happened to me. And I was like, talk to me more about this, brother. He's been on my show before. I'm going to have him back on again to talk about this whole ordeal. But through that, hitting another bottom, if you will, through that opportunity to step back and recognize some of the patterns in his life, he realized some of the things that were missing that didn't appear to him until he had to have this perspective. He had to see things from this side to go, oh, now I see this. When he was over here, he couldn't see this, but now he's over here. He's like, oh man, I can see this thing now. Now he's more excited than he's ever been. He's more on purpose and on mission and executing on things that he's ever done. His clarity, his passion, his excitement, everything has come like full circle. And he already was doing really good. And that's the crazy thing about it. So to your point, Will, I mean, I encourage everybody out there, all of you guys, to look at those low times and ask yourself, what was I supposed to learn from that? What can I have gained from that? What can I use and implement from those particular times? I mean, I'm literally like fucking writing my life story about being homeless in the backseat of a station wagon with 18 cats and 4 dogs and a mother with psychiatric issues and drug dependencies, and I had physical abuse, mental abuse. I don't think I have any sexual abuse. I'm gonna try to plant-based medicine to see if I have any hidden memories and stuff like that. I don't think so. But I went through some fucked up shit, a bunch of shit. I've been rejected, lied to, cheated on, betrayed, everything in the world. But I tell people, like, when I'm having those moments myself where I'm kind of like, oh man, what's going to happen? Because I have all these people in my life telling me, Chris, you're supposed to be amazing. You're supposed to be you are not amazing. You're supposed to be big and huge like Tony Robbins or fucking, but why? We don't understand why you're not there. And I'm like, I don't understand it either. I know it's all happening for me on purpose. I know that everything that's happened and is happening for preparing me for what's next. Right. And that's the important thing. What was happening, what was going through your life and what was going through my life, whatever is going through our lives at any particular moment is preparing us for what's next based on what you were talking about and thinking about what God's got us. Like, God's not going to put us through anything that we can't handle. Must think I'm pretty tough, but I think that the rewards are that much richer when you go through those experiences and you go through those trials and tribulations and you never give up on yourself, knowing in your heart that something out there, that greatness is meant for you. You have to hang on. But I believe, I don't even think, I know one of the greatest changes in my life was changing the people that I hung around with. That was hard for me to do. I mean, I had to leave my mother in a motel situation that was dangerous. I had to leave my friends that were partial drug addicts. And I had to turn my back on all that situation and start investing in myself and start taking care of myself. Talk to us about that rise out of that depression, and what were some of the main areas you focused on for your own personal happiness? Because oftentimes people sit there and say, well, don't focus on yourself because that's being selfish. But like you said before, the number one person in our lives is us. And that's not being selfish. That's being self-care. So talk to me about that.
Well, first of all, I want to say to people that if you can't change people around you, change people around you. I know this may go over some people's head, but they'll catch it later on. If you can't change people around you, change people around you. The first thing that I had to learn is I wanted to be at a place where I'm accepted and not tolerated. I want to be at a place where I feel like that I'm being uplifted. I feel like I'm being motivated. I feel like people are cheering on for me, because let's face it, we all think that we have circles, but if those people around you are not pushing you, you don't have a circle. You got a cage. That means you got to get out. So for me, focusing on myself was the only thing that I had left, because everything I had left, was born in Haiti, grew up in Miami, Florida, 27 years old. I packed my bag with about $1,000 in my pocket with a laptop, and I say, I'm leaving the States. I'm leaving the United States, and I got to get out, because at some point you cannot expect to heal from the same place you're wounded.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You have to leave that place behind. And I decided I was going to move to Canada. I have no idea where I was going to stay. I said, you know what? Desperate time, desperate measure. I got to get out. And I think it was one of the best things because there were 3 things that I was facing. I was facing deportation, I was facing life in prison, and I was facing death. I had 3 choices. But I knew I was made for something greater than that. And I couldn't find out what it is. But it clicked to me saying, What are the and that was the last thing that I wanted to do, just to leave the United States, the land of the free, right? The land that full of milk and honey is what they say. But I had to come down. I had to be in the valley because I felt like I was at the top of the mountain for so long, but I felt like I was alone, and I had to come down to the valley and realize I'm the only one that I've got.
Hmm.
This body, this organ is the only vehicle that's gonna get me through this life. And if I don't take care of it now, if I don't invest in it now, how am I going to ask somebody to invest in me when I'm not
Right.
investing in myself? How am I going to ask somebody to love me when I don't even know how to love myself? How am I going to tell somebody to respect my boundary, to respect me when I can't even do it for myself? So instead of looking for those validation outside of myself, I start looking inward. And everything else that people would bring to me was just add-on, was just bonus. If I want love, I love myself. If I need respect, I respect myself. So what that means, everything that you're gonna bring to me is only gonna be bonus. I welcome it, I appreciate it, but I don't need it
Right.
because I am enough. So I had to get to that point of myself, and I had to endure myself. So instead of me sitting at the window and looking at the world and criticize everybody and playing the victim and blame everybody, I step away from the window and I step towards the mirror. But
Mm.
too many of us are standing at the window and looking at the world and what the world is doing to us, what people did to us, what my mom didn't do, what this, that, and the third. Well, you can sit here and cry over spilled milk while time is going by, or you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? You're fucked up, man.
Hmm.
It's all on you. You got to be responsible. You got to take accountability because guess what? In everything that you've been through, there's only one person that's always there, and that's you. And
Yep.
if you don't learn to take responsibility, accountability, you're gonna go through this life blaming everybody else but you. But at some point, you have to be mature enough to say, you know what, I have a part to play with this. If something's gonna change, I have to start changing myself, and it's got to start from the inside out. And when I
Mhm.
started doing that, when I started doing that work, we call that shadow work, and all of a sudden, the whole world opened up to me from a different point of view. I'm like, now that I see the world differently. Why? Because I changed my perception and I changed my perspective on how I see the world. And all of a sudden, the world is a brand new place. It's still the same world. I just have a different. I look at it from a different lens.
Mm. Ooh, I love that because I could sit there and talk about the lens of love versus the lens of fear, but I want to hone in on something that you talked about. When in any situation, there's three things we could do. We could do the best we can do. We can do the worst we could do, or we could do nothing. And I
Mm,
sit there and I tell people like the worst thing you could do is nothing. The next best thing you can do is the worst thing, because at least you can figure out what the worst thing is and then go do the right thing and figure it out by a process of elimination. But so many times we stay stuck in that fear of making a mistake, the fear of hurting somebody, the fear of success. Talk to us about that in your journey. Has there been any, what elimination of fear have you had to focus on most? And the second part of that question is, how has forgiveness played a role in your healing and your growth?
oh my God, great question. First of all, I would say almost every one of us are not don't have fear of success. Don't have fear of failure. We have fear of success
Yeah.
because if we fail, we already know. But if we succeed, then now we're scared. Are we gonna be able to succeed again? So people are not scared of failure. They were scared of success.
Yeah.
For me, fear fear has always played a role in my life because everything that I did as a child, even as an adult, was based out of fear, not out of love.
Yeah.
And and that's all I know. And then therefore I operate. A lot of us, all of us, operate 90% of the time out of our subconscious. And your
Yep.
subconscious was made from all the trauma, from all the experience. So I operate from that, and I had to change my mindset and my heart set to say, you know what? I'm no longer going to be slave and bound by those fear, by my trauma, by generational curse and generational trauma. And I have to break that cycle that hold me down, this culture, this tradition that no longer served me. I was too attached to my culture. I was too attached to what I've known, which didn't serve me, but because that's all I knew. So therefore, I couldn't break out of that. The second part of that, you're talking about forgiveness. Man, we can sit here talk about forgiveness all day long.
I
because
knew.
there were a lot of people that had to forgive. Now, forgiveness, when you don't forgive, it's like drinking the poison and
Yep.
expect somebody else to die.
100%.
And what I find about forgiveness, it's a liberation. But when we forgive, we are the place, we actually elevate. When we can forgive, we actually elevate. You know what Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
That's you going higher. Because now you have tapped into your spiritual realm, because it is hard, ladies and gentlemen, to forgive, especially if you've been abused, sexually abused by the people, by your caretaker that's supposed to take care of you, when you've been molested by the man that's supposed to be a father figure to you, when you've been cheated on, you've been lied on, you've been betrayed, when you've been there for people that now you got caught holding the bag and everybody leave you, and you find yourself not snitching on nobody, and you do the time and nobody come to your rescue. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sit here and say this. It is hard, but it is even harder to hold on to this, because what you're doing is you are killing yourself slowly.
Mm-hmm. So go deep on that. Go deep on that with somebody you had to forgive. Go deep on that with somebody you had to forgive. Because I'm in the same boat with you, brother, man. There's been so many people.
5 years ago, I had to call my caretaker and I say, I forgive you for what you did. And I can remember a 9-year-old boy being introduced to sex from the age of 9 to 16. And I call this person, I say, I forgive you. And what the next thing that the person said was worse than the abuse.
Ooh.
And that person had the nerve to say, I did nothing to be forgiving for. That
you're like,
that
oh, I'm gonna reach through this phone and I'm gonna grab your neck.
Yeah,
I had one of those experiences.
That was worse than abuse.
Yeah.
Because now as an adult, because the abuse, my body didn't know any better. My body react the way you're supposed to react. No matter what you do to the body, it reacted the way you reacted, because I'm a man and I have feelings, I have emotions, and so on and so forth. But what that person did to me pretty much opened the wound, stuck a knife in it, and twist the knife. And I had to sit with that. And I told myself, I say, see, all that forgiveness bullshit, you should have never done it. Now look what happened. But what I didn't understand is that I released, and I felt 50 pounds lighter. 50 pounds
100%.
lighter. Why? Because I was able to release that person. Now it's no longer in my conscience. It's no longer in my hands. Now it belongs to them. I give it back to them. So I had to find a way to forgive myself. I had to find a way. Even my ex-wife, it's been 4 years. I haven't seen my son. I keep praying for her because she's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nobody on their right mind who's gonna take someone's child, saying that you love the child, you love the person, but you decide to take the child away. There's got to be some type of psychological problem. So what I do, instead of hoping worse for them, I hope for the best. I hope they find a way to heal. I hope they find a way to find themselves. So forgiveness is such a liberation. I think for me, as long as you don't forgive, you're like someone that's constipated.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're constipated, the only person that's hurting is you.
Uh-huh.
And by you forgiving, it's like cleansing yourself and say, you know what? I'm letting you go. This is no longer mine, and I'm giving back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And promise you, it's not easy, but I promise you, it is worth every minute as you release someone.
Mm-hmm.
And to feel that liberation, to feel that freedom, and to be yourself. And guess what? I could never move forward until I had forgiven that person. Yep. Because that person was holding me back. But it wasn't the person that was holding me back. I was holding myself back. And until I was able to forgive that person, that's when I was able to break that ice and then become mature and say, you know what? Now I can begin my healing journey.
Mm-hmm. Amen, brother. Will, that was right there, guys, for the price of admission. That was hands down the best part of this whole conversation right now, because so many people are stuck in those hurt feelings, the rejection, the resentment, the anger, the animosity. I know I went through that. I mean, my mother made horrible decisions most of my life that affected me. And I always had to be there by her side the whole entire time. And I was pissed and I was resentful. I mean, literally, I'm writing in the book like today. I'm like rereading all this shit. I'm like, oh my God, people reading this book are going to be like, there's no way he went through all this. There's no way. I'm like, it just kept happening. And as I was getting older, my dependence on alcohol as an escape, I was still successful. I was what you might consider a high functioning alcoholic. I was really good, always taking care of my business, not hurting anybody, but I just needed alcohol to kind of process things and get away from my own thoughts and feelings. And then when my friends kind of had a little bit of an intervention with me one time, I sat there and I said, I tell you what, starting in January, I'll take from January 1st until my birthday, February 26th, and I won't drink anymore. And that's the longest I'd gone without drinking for a long time because I didn't see I had a problem with it. It was just my coping mechanism. I didn't hurt anybody. Nobody. It was just, that's what Chris did to deal with things. Keep on trucking, right? Keep on trucking. And so as I started doing this procedure every year, this practice every year, that opportunity, that awakening moment for me to sit there and have the alone time with my thoughts. And that's why that book says, think and grow rich, ladies and gentlemen. So many people don't take the time just to think about their life and think about what it is that they want most. And as I was going through this healing process, it occurred to me, I'm like, how can I find a way to forgive my mother? How can I find a way to let go of this resentment and animosity? Because you're right. You know, we sit there and we walk around this invisible bag of, oh, woe is me. Oh, I was this and I was this and I was this and I was this. This is why I can't lose weight. And this is why I can't keep a job. And this is why I can't have a relationship. This is why I can't set goals. And this is why I can't eat right. And this is why, and this is why, and this is why. And they carried around like a fucking badge of honor. And I ask people all the time, like, what would it feel like if you just dropped that fucking bag? Just drop it. Just let it go. How would you feel right now if you no longer cared all that anger and animosity and all that resentment, all that poison? How much different would your relationships be? How much different would your happiness be? Your sleep, your nutrition, your exercise, if you let that fucking bag go? Oh my God, Chris, you could see their physiology change, right? You're into looking at the physiology of people. Yeah. Okay. So why are you hanging on to it? What is it serving? What purpose is it serving you? Oh, it's protecting you from getting hurt more. It's also preventing you from experiencing happiness as well. And so as I kept thinking about it, because I'm my own best coaching client, I tell people that all the fucking time. Like if I have a situation, I will go through it and I actually kind of secretly in a weird way, not enjoy it, but I'll look at it from the aspect like, once I get through this shit, I'm gonna help some motherfuckers go through this. Right. And that's kind of just the way I look at it. Like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna lead a brother up, lead a sister up. And we're all helping each other up. We're all helping each other. That's the way I look at life. And so I said, if I went through all the experiences she did, if I was raised by her parents, if I was, my parents divorced at 4 years old and I was a little girl in 1960s, born in 1942. So in that period of time, Great Recession, World War II, the economy, baby boomers, all the different ideologies that were going on there. If I went through all those experiences that she went through, the men she dated, the experience she's had at school, the books she read, the therapist she had, might I be like her? Might I be like her? And as much as I did not want to say it, Will, I was like, fuck, yeah. And I still would sit there going, but no, I would have, but I wouldn't have been me. I would have been her. And so once I saw that, I'm like, I immediately had empathy and forgiveness. And I was like, you poor, my mom used to tell me I'm 4 years old. I'm like, shut up. You're 48. Shut up. I act like a fucking adult. And then all the pieces started falling together. I'm like, 4 years old. What? Oh, that's when her parents divorced. Emotionally, she was still at 4. Biologically and everything else, she put on a front that she was an adult. She went to work and she did things that grown-ups do, but she was playing an adult. She was really a kid. She was a poor, hurt little girl that never fucking got out of her own way for her entire life until her on her deathbed. She finally realized what life was all about. She told me like 2 months before she died, she's like, I now get it. And I felt so sorry for her, but I was so amazed at the fact that she finally released and let go of her own hurt and her pain. And I think that's what people need to do, is to be able to find that forgiveness, because once you let go of that bag, ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy. Like Will's saying, I'm saying it's not easy, but God, it is so worth it. Absolutely. And on the other side of that, there's so much love and opportunity and things. My next question for you, Will, is, and it's a 2-part. So you're a coach, so I know you get this. When people say, Will, I'm doing the best I can, what's your reaction? What do you think when somebody says, man, I'm doing the best I can?
Sincerely, without being condescending, I would ask them, are you?
Yeah.
Are you? And has that been working for you? You're doing the best you can. Are you? Explain to me, what does that mean, you're doing the best you can? Because to me, when you say you're doing the best you can, it sounds to me very a defeat. I'm doing the best that I can.
Like there's no more. You're limiting yourself from there.
Yes, absolutely. Now you just limit yourself to No, you can never. There's always something more you can do. You know, they say that your 10 best, your first 10 best idea are not the best idea. The 11th one is your best idea, because the first 10 is just like going through the motion.
Yeah.
Have you look at everything and its totality? Have you tried everything? Are you really doing your best? Now, your best you're doing, is it based on what? Based on your past experience? Based on books that you read? Based on the people that are around you? What is your best? Are you at your best? Because in order for you to do your best, you got to be at your best. Now, let's look at it from that point of view. Are you at your best? How are you mentally? How are you physically? How are you spiritually? How are you financially? So you can't tell me you're doing your best when you're not at your best, when you're at your worst, because whatever it's inside of you will come out. So I don't think you're doing your best. I think you're doing just enough to survive. Most of us are on a survival mode. And it's time for us to remove that kind of limited belief to say, you know what? There's more out there. And how can I reach that? Chris has 2 arms. He's got 2 legs, got 2 eyes. Yeah, he's prettier than me. Okay, that's fine. He's taller than me. He's prettier than me. But other than that, he's just a human being. Why is he able to do the thing that he's able to do? One word: discipline.
Oh,
Habits.
that's got it.
Not motivation. Motivation bullshit is just like shower. You got to do it every day, because motivation will come after you start and not before. What is it that drives you to wake up 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, to keep doing, to keep grinding? What is that drives you? Are you really doing your best? And are you crafting what it is that you're doing? Are you seeking someone that's better than you? And the problem is that we are so caught up on what we know, and we think we know it all. And one thing that I've learned, the more that I know, the more I realize how much I don't know.
Yeah.
Only humble people, only wise people will know that they don't know much, and they're gonna keep seeking. They're gonna keep learning, because they know there's such a vast knowledge that you can't know it all. And once you get at the end, once you get to the point where you think you know it all, you haven't even begun to learn anything. And to me, that's what it really comes down to. It comes down to where I'm at today. Is this, have I given all I've got? Have I done all I can? Have I exhausted? And I have one of my mentor. I could never go to him with a problem or with a challenge without trying 10 different possibilities.
Wow.
It's got to be 10. So now I know. So guess what? I rarely go to him, because I got the answer. Why? Because all the answers are already within me. I just have to go. I have to reach in within me. Now, every once in a while, he will help me to figure it out, but not giving me the answer. So for me, it's really about searching the inside of you, looking inward, and see what you're made of. You'll be surprised. You know, Bob Marley said, "You don't know how strong you are until." I'm paraphrasing. You don't know how strong you are until your strength is all you have, or until your strength is all you have to rely on. We don't know how strong we are. We have this limited belief that's stopping us from being our greater selves. And I think it's time for us to really kind of, I would say one thing that might be controversial, and I don't
Go
care,
for it. I love
because
it.
this is raw and unscripted.
Hell yeah, baby.
All this BS, learning new thing, I think we need to stop. Some of us need to stop. Some of us need to unlearn and relearn, because a lot of things that we have learned it wrong. Now what we're doing is we're adding more information on top of the foundation that's very shaky. I think we need to unlearn and relearn, and now be very careful what we're learning and what the source is. Because today, 50 years ago, we had problem finding information, but today is to know what's the truth and what's not the truth. Today we don't have problem finding information. Now the information I'm getting, where is it coming from? Is it the truth? And what is the truth? Everybody has their own version of truth. I didn't know there was multiple versions of truth. I thought there was one truth, but now everybody has, and now everybody has their own version of truth. Yeah, there are 3 kinds of it. There's my truth, there's your truth, and there's this truth, which is the real truth that we never get to. It's the real truth. So I'm here to tell people, to encourage people, that really at the end of the day, you have the power, and no one can take your power unless you give it.
Mhm.
So if you feel powerless, it's no one's fault, it's yours. Go back and pick and get your power back, because nobody take it from you. You had to give it. It's time for you to take your power back and be the woman and the man that you were created to be. And listen, at the end of the day, if things don't get done, it's nobody's fault. And you are doing yourself and the world a disservice, because what you came to the world to do, if you don't do it, nobody is going to be able to do it, because nobody has your fingerprint. But tonight, just to know that you value, you have a purpose, and there's something that you're supposed to be on this planet Earth. And make sure you don't go out in this world without fulfilling the purpose that you were created for.
Hell yes. Preach it, brother. Got my other brother and from another mother in the house. It's my co-host from the Unfiltered Experience, Scott Goyette. He says, powerful, show your brilliance. Thank you, Scott. Scott's out having a good time. Always check out our Unfiltered Experience on Friday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the unfilteredexperience.com. We got Jacqueline Rose in the house, says, men need to realize it's okay to cry and show their feelings. It doesn't make them weak or less than a man. Absolutely, 100%, Jacqueline Rose. It's so paramount in that the vulnerability is the juice where there's strength, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about breaking down the facade of who we are, the ego, the external validation, all the external stuff. And we're talking in this whole conversation tonight about what can we do from within. And even to Scott, when Scott just got here, but I was talking about that. That's what we're doing on the Unfiltered Experience, is having those I am statements in that discovery process of who am I really? And then understanding from that process, what can I let go external? Right. If I'm enough, if I'm source and I'm love and for me, my I am statement has been I am peace. So literally I've been saying this a lot lately. Like instead of saying I'm tired or I'm frustrated or I'm this, I'm like, no, Chris, you're peace. I'm peace.
Right.
I feel peaceful in this moment because that's what I'm going to focus on. And I recognize that everything is happening for its intended purpose. So I have that little redirect.
It's and something I want to add something about the vulnerability. You know, vulnerability used to be my kryptonite. Now it becomes my superpower, because I find strength in vulnerability. I find power in vulnerability, passion, purpose. But the problem is we have to learn where, how, and to whom we need to be vulnerable, because I have my vulnerability used against me from people that knew me.
Oh, yeah.
And he shut me down. But guess what? Now I have learned to whom I can be vulnerable to. And I told a woman, I say, I can sleep with a bunch of women. Doesn't mean I'm intimate with you. Right. Because my intimacy with a woman is not in the bed. It's what I share with you, my vulnerability. So I don't get intimate with a lot of people. So for me, my way of showing someone that I respect you, that I love you, is to my vulnerability. How vulnerable can I be with you? And that's how you know how much I respect, love you, and I admire you. I just wanted to plug that in.
No, dude, I love that. I mean, that's the juice in what we're talking about. I love what Scott said here as well. He says, manifest from present moment. You're there already. And also he says, I love you guys. Because he does. He's awesome. He's the head founder of Go Love Now. So he runs a whole organization called Go Love Now. And that's what we need to do, is we need to go love now. We need to go love ourselves now. We need to go love others now. The time is now, especially in this world with everything that's going on and the chaos and the uncertainty. My last question for you is this. From your experiences, for people who are listening to this and not watching this, you're a strong Black man. You've had an amazing experience. You've had an entire life of experiences. Where you're at in your life today, are you positive about the direction the world is going in, or are you concerned?
Oh, I have never been more positive about the way the world is going, because the things that are about to happen in this world we've never seen before. Now, I know they say that nothing is new under the sun, but I have never seen it. People have seen it. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm very I'm a forward thinker, and I know the best is yet to come. Absolutely. Why the best is yet to come? Because I'm being a better version of myself. So therefore, the things that are about to happen are going to happen under my watch, a way that's never been happened before. So I'm very hopeful. Now we can look at the glass half empty and half full,
right?
Or we can look at the glass just it has water. It's neither half full, half empty. There's something in it. And for me, that's what it's all about. As long as that I'm here, I can make a difference. And as long as I can make a difference, then the best is still yet to come. So I'm very hopeful. I am very positive.
Well, I'm going to stand right alongside you, brother. From Montreal, Canada to here, California, we're going to extend our reach and we're going to go through this world and we're going to continue making it a beautiful place, man. I'm on your side. I would love to get on stages with you and go impact a lot of people because your message, my message, Scott's message, we need to get it out there. We need to get out there to the people and connect with people and share our vulnerability, share our our fears and everything else, and realize that we're more the same than we are different.
Oh,
and I think that's such a beautiful aspect of what I'm excited about in the future. I think the younger generation sees that, wants to implement that. We've just got a bunch of old fuckers that are living back in the 30s with their beliefs and everything that we need to switch out. Yeah, like you said, if you don't change people, nothing changes. So we need to get those people out of there, and we need to continue shining our light. So, man, this has been a phenomenal experience having this conversation with you. There's so many gold mine nuggets in here that I'll be doing some 60-second snippets of. Thank you for being here. Where can people get a hold of you, Mr. Will, and continue this conversation? Because I know they're going to want to.
Absolutely. I am a midwilltorise.com. The reason I call it midwilltorise.com because I want everybody to meet their own will to rise, because I have met my will to rise, and I think we all have a will and we can all rise to the occasion. I am on YouTube, I am on Clapper, I am on Clubhouse, I'm on Threads.
That's the new one. Scott just got on Threads. I just signed up for Threads today. I'm like, I see my friends jumping on it, but I'm like, really, another one?
Yeah, IG. I'm on Will to Rise. So basically, what I do and the way that I work with men, I work on 4 pillars. The first thing is really about emotional freedom, because I think for too long men have been emotionally constipated, and it's time for us to heal ourselves. It's time for us to be free. Second thing, I want men to master emotion, and emotional mastery is very important, because anytime that you do not master something, it masters you. So you become your master. And anytime that you're being mastered by something, then a lot of time it will lead you to places that you don't want to go. And third, the best relationship you can have with yourself. You can't love someone without really truly love yourself. And last but not least, as a father myself, in order for me to really truly be present and father my children, be the father that I wanted to be for my children, and to be the father that I wish that I had that I never had, to be the parent that I wish I had I never had, and I had to go back and father that little boy, that 9-year-old boy inside of me. And until I was able to make peace with that 9-year-old boy and to rescue him from being abandoned, from being molested and abused, then I was able to father my children the best way that I know how. So that's basically what it's all about. Will to rise, pretty much everywhere. It's yellow because the sun is yellow, is rising, and blue, that's my favorite color. So there you have it. So we are going up, man. We're not going back down. No,
oh yeah,
not anymore.
It's liftoff, baby. We got to make a difference in this world. And I'm committed to that every single day. When I wake up, the first thing I do is I say what I'm grateful for. The second thing I do is I set the intention for the day. Yes. And one of my intentions every single day is that I'm going to use my words and my actions to make this world a better place for who I am and what I do. And so that I know when I go to bed at night, one of the first things I do is I recap. I'm like, did I live my purpose today? Was it through my podcast? Was it through a walk and talk video? Was it a coaching client? Was it all the above? Was it somebody I met randomly on the street? Did I fulfill my intention today? And recapping that. And so every day when I wake up, it's like set the right intentions, focused on gratitude. And at the end of the day, figure out what it is that you executed on, be proud of that, be grateful for that, and continue enjoying the moment. So when we do that, we can live a kick-ass life.
Absolutely. There's nothing to it but to do it.
There's nothing to it but to do it. Man, Brother Will, I appreciate you so much. We're going to definitely have you back on the show. We'll get you on the Unfiltered experience as well. I'm going to place you backstage for a second. Don't go anywhere. And then I'm going to end out the show, and then I just want to have a little quick chat with you. Awesome, brother. Thank you. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Raw and Unscripted show here, just in 53 minutes and 31 seconds. I promised you guys I would keep it at under an hour, and just want to sincerely thank you guys for participating in the conversation tonight. Scott and Jacqueline Rose and Catherine and whoever else was in the chat as well. I know sometimes the comments don't come over from all the different social media sites, so I apologize for that. Sometimes I can't put the comments up. I'll find out that somebody was commenting from YouTube or commenting from LinkedIn, so apologize, I can't fix that. But the thing that we can do from this experience is, again, like we said at the beginning of the show, 3 things. What are 3 aspects of this conversation? There was probably 24. What are the 3 things that you're going to take from this particular conversation tonight? Write them down. Seriously, write them down on paper. I think your phone is a good thing, but I think writing them down. Here's my little secret. Sticky notes. I like sticky notes. So I take a sticky note, and when I learn something new, I stick it on my folder. I stick it on my monitor. So I have sticky notes. Here's another one. So I'm just telling you the truth. So when I watch a podcast or something, I'm like, ooh, I need to focus on these 3 things. Like one of the things I have on over here is, am I being intentional? God's honest truth. It says, am I being intentional? The other thing it says, am I focused on what's most important? I have ADHD on crack, ladies and gentlemen. I focus on all sorts of shit all the time. But am I being intentional? So I keep that in front of me. So I'm sitting here going, dude. I'm scrolling through Facebook and watching Foo Fighters videos. I'm like, am I focusing on what's more important? Did I set the intention to get distracted today? No. Okay, what can I do to get undistracted? I set an intention to do this today. Okay, let me go do that. So redirecting your focus. And one of the things I want to capitalize on what Will was saying is, what is your best, right? What is your best? I came home from work one day years and years ago, and I said, well, I did the best I could. And then I questioned myself, and I'm like, Chris, was that really your best? Did you prepare in advance? Were you ready? Did you think about all the different scenarios? Was there blood, sweat, and tears involved in it? No, you didn't do your best. And I realized, I went, wow, where does that come from? Oh, when we're kids. Chris, did you do the best you can? Did you do the best you could on your math homework? Yeah. Okay, we'll do better next time. Okay. Next time happens. Did you do your best? Yeah, we'll do better next time. And that's all people fucking tell us. We never realize what our best is until we get to those adversarial times. Like Will was saying, when you're at your darkest moments, if you're in your darkest moment right now, there's only one place to go, and that's up. That's up. You got to continue to go up every single day in every single way. The 5 areas you should be taking care of your life. The foundation. We talked about this a little bit. My foundational principles are this: hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. If you take care of those every single day, sleep, nutrition, hydration, exercise, and vitamin D, every single day, you make sure you get some sun on yourself. Make sure you're hydrating. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So many people aren't even drinking water. Like, people come to me like, Chris, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm this and that. I can't sleep, and I'm fucking eating. Da, da, da. I'm like, how much water do you drink a day? I swear to God, it's the first thing I fucking say. How much water do you drink? Oh, I don't drink very much. Or I do. What do you drink? Well, I drink soda, coffee, or Diet Coke, or fucking Dr. Pepper. I'm like, you don't drink like water, clear water. Like, your body's like 80% of water. And if you don't drink water, you're dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, you make shitty decisions, and you run to your short-term gratifications, and you wonder why your life doesn't change. And you wake up 20 years later going, oh my God, the last 20 years went by so fast. Yeah, because you were fucking running away from them. The conversation tonight with Will and myself says, stand up, face your fears, and rise. Realize that everything is happening in your life to get you to the next point. I keep this thing right in front of me all the time too. I'm giving you guys all my secrets. 3 feet from gold. You never know how close you are when you give up on your dreams. Stop it. Get new people around yourself. Invest in yourself with a coach, a mentor, a accountability program, whatever it is that you got to do that, which I'm actually going to be having coming out. I decided I'm not a big program guy. I'm not a big mastermind guy. I do my one-on-one coaching, and I do my speaking, and I do my podcast and stuff like that. But so many of you have been reaching out saying, Chris, I can't afford to coach with you, but I'd love to be able to have some way of working with you. So I'm doing a 6-week course right now. I'm in the middle of developing it. So I'm going to be giving it at a fucking dirt cheap price, because that's the way I roll. I figure it out, and I give it to the people, and then I grandfather those people in. So if you get in on the first level, you stay at that price. That's the way I work. So if you help me get something and you help me give me feedback on it, then you guys get to stay at that price. And then I just grandfather people in. I just raise the price to where the ceiling is, and where people meet that objective to have enough investment in there to take it seriously. And I can make enough money on it to make sure that it's worth my time and investment, because I have to protect myself. I've spent my entire life building what's up in here to make your life different. So of course I deserve to be compensated for that. So all that to say, I love you guys. The biggest thing you can do is go out there and have a why. Like, really, seriously, go write your eulogy and figure out what your why is. When you wake up every day, fulfill that why. I'm going to be the best parent that I possibly can to be my kid. Okay. If you died today, were you the best parent? No. Okay. What can you do tomorrow to make that difference? Every single day and every single way, when you wake up, what can I do differently to get different results? Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, get this, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. So there. Love you too, Catherine. You rock stars. We'll see you here next week on the Raw and Unscripted show. Next week, you guys keep asking me, like, who's up next week? Who's up next week? Who do we have next week? I should have had this information for you before, but I'm still on vacation mode. Oh, we have Tony Rodriguez next weekend. That's what I'm sure. I'm pretty sure we have Tony the Tiger. Tony Rodriguez will be on the Raw and Unscripted show next Tuesday night. He's a firecracker. He's from Jersey. He's a New York boy. He's got a lot of passion. He's a Tony Robbins trainer. He's a phenomenal dude. Show up here and again, get those three strategies and keep taking action on your life. I love you guys. Peace. Raw and Unscripted. No excuses.